Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic part 1. Which is what if Naruto was exiled from Konoha and marked for death part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Uzumaki Naruto. The elder said looking down from her seat amongst the council at the blonde genin. You are hereby exiled from Konoha for attacking a fellow shinobi of the leaf. What? Naruto exclaimed. Who? He demanded. Your attack on Uchiha Sasuke. I was ordered to bring him back. The bastard attacked me, the blonde teen yelled. Your orders were to rescue Sasuke from the chest of Orochimaru, not leave him in a coma. Another council elder said looking at the blonde with disdain. I fought him to defend myself and bring him back. He rammed a Chidori into my chest and if it weren't for my tenant I would have died and the bastard Uchiha you all worship would have continued to go to the snake tem. Naruto countered. Preposterous. Sasuke Uchiha would never join Orochimaru of his own free will. You must have driven him to it, demon. Another elder spoke up. And you're an idiot. Naruto shot back. Where's the tsundere? He asked. The Hokage washed her hands of you, demon. The counselor said with disdain. That was a lie. They had Tsunade banned from this meeting knowing she would stick up for the demon container. This was their chance while she was dealing with the injured squad that had been part of the retrieval, they were going to get rid of the demon. You are banished from Konoha and should you set foot in it again you will be executed by order of the Hokage. A council elder said and tossed Naruto a scroll. He read it and saw Tsunade's name, forged, and that of the village elders. His head lowered and knew that was that. Sakura's words still vibrated through his mind. Look what you did to Sasuke-kun. I hate you Naruto, why didn't you die? No one cares, just go away demon. You will be escorted beyond Konoha's borders. Anbu. A pair of Anbu root members appeared. Take this, trash and escort him from our borders. He is not to be harmed unless he sets foot back. The white-masked ninja grabbed Naruto's arms. We give you half an hour to gather your possessions from your home. Naruto remained silent. His once shining blue eyes were dim and his face emotionless. Do you understand Uzumaki? Yeah. His once loud and boisterous voice was flat and dead. The roots Anbu vanished with him in a swirl. The council looked at one another in joy. They did it. They might not have been able to execute him, but exile was a start. Naruto looked around his shabby hovel that was his apartment. He packed some clothes, his ninja gear, a couple of photos and then looked at his fridge. The food had gone bad, not that there was much to begin with. He filled several bottles with water and stored them in a scroll. He stored the rest of his things in another scroll and turned and dropped the key on the counter looked at the faceless Anbu who stood by the doors. There's nothing here for me, there never was. He thought heading for the door. I'm done, he said in the same dead voice. The Anbu grabbed him and they vanished once more in a twirl of leaves. They appeared at the gates and Naruto without prompting was walking out the gates. Naruto ne-san. He kept walking, his head down, his posture slumped. Boss. Another voice called out. Naruto sighed and turned to see Konohamaru, Udon and Moegi running towards him. He looked at them sadly. This would be the last time he got to see them. Hey guys. He said, his voice still flat. Ne-san, you got another kick mission? Konohamaru asked. No. Naruto said. I've been exiled. What? 3 voices rang out. You can't go. Konohamaru said. You're supposed to be my rival. Sorry Konohamaru. The Hokage and the council exiled me for attacking their precious Uchiha. Naruto said. He reached up and untied his hitai. Could you give this to Iruka for me Konohamaru? I won't need it anymore. He then ripped the necklace from his neck and gave it to Konohamaru. And returned that to the Hokage. I'm not precious to her, and she'd want her grandfather's necklace back and not around the neck of someone like me. By this the 3 youths were crying and Moegi was hugging him around the waist tightly sobbing. Don't go. Please. I have to. If I don't the Anbu here are ordered to execute me. Konohamaru sobbed as he hugged the blonde he thought of not only as his rival, sensei but his big brother and friend. It's up to you now to become Hokage Konohamaru. Make the old man proud. Konohamaru rubbed his eyes with the back of his hand. I'll become Hokage ne-san. And I swear I'll make you proud of me. I already am Konohamaru. You'll be great someday. The will of fire will live on in you. Konohamaru cried more hearing his grandfather's words from Naruto's mouth. Naruto noticed the Anbu shifting and knew he had to get going. Goodbye you three. Take care, stick with Iruka. He said touching Moegi and Udon on their heads above the goggles and then he pulled Konohamaru into a one-armed hug. Naruto walked through the gates of Konoha leaving behind 3 academy students, one holding a headband and necklace with tears coming down his face. They traveled for hours using the trees. Naruto and the Anbu silent nothing was disturbed in their passing. They were nearly to the border when the Anbu attacked. Danzo orders your death demon. The first one said, your body will be studied and secrets used for cloning. The second one said, the kunai in his shoulder left him in pain. It was in a place he couldn't reach. Bastards stabbed me in the back, why am I surprised? Naruto thought backing up. He struggled to his feet and put his right hand up in a defensive position. Danzo will reward us well for killing you demon. Idiots. The one on the left lunged and Naruto ducked and kicked out taking the Anbu's legs out with a hard kick to the leg and a loud snap was heard, the Anbu screamed. The other one caught Naruto with a swipe of his kunai. Aghhhhh. Naruto looked at his arm and saw the cut was deep. Naruto staggered back as the kunai in his back was throbbing and the wound he just received was as well. Poison, he muttered. Sadly no, it is a paralyzing agent. It will make killing you easier and leave your body less damaged. The Anbu spoke. Oh, good. Means I get to kill you without worrying about him dying. All 3 looked over to a figure standing by a tree. He was wearing blue ninja pants, a mesh shirt and a black leather coat. Long silver hair was covered by a bandana and gloved hands were at the young man's side. A pair of gold eyes looked back at the Anbu. Now, why are you trying to kill my friend? Mikahamaru. Naruto said, his voice sluggish and his limbs felt like they were lead. Hey, Ruto. The silver-haired youth said, his eyes going back to the Anbu. Be with you in a moment, I have some Konoha trash to kill. Before the Anbu could move he felt something slice his arm. What was that? He asked looking around. I'm a wind elemental. Add in my Kekkei Genkai and your bone bitch. Whhhhhhhh. The Anbu screamed as his very own blood burned him from the inside out. Melwasu Kekkei Genkai, flash fry. Naruto watched as the Anbu fell to the ground, his eyes wide in pain and fright. Mika, Naruto said weakly, the paralyzing toxin was kicking in and he found it hard to focus. One more, Mikahamaru said and his right arm lashed out and the Anbu on the ground felt something wrap around him. Melwasu assassination technique, monowire decapitation. The Anbu's head popped off and the body was sliced as if it was meat. Damn Mika, you've gotten meaner. Naruto said weakly as the silver-haired youth approached him. And you've gotten sloppy. Mika said lowering Naruto to the ground and pulled the kunai from his back. What happened? I've been exiled. Naruto said, his mouth moving heavily, his tongue feeling like lead in his mouth. Hold still. This will hurt, but I should be able to burn the toxin from your blood. We can't stay here long enough for it to wear off. Naruto said and braced himself. Bite down on this. Mikahamaru said offering him a kunai handle. Naruto did and he screamed as his blood burned as Mika focused his power. A moment later it was done. Why, you've gotten better. Naruto panted, the kunai falling from his mouth. Come on. We'll talk away from here. Mika said and helping Naruto to his feet they took to the trees leaving the remains of the Anbu on the forest floor. Hours later Mika and Naruto were resting by a stream. Those, Mika who had listened to Naruto's life since they'd last seen one another was not enraged at what he'd learned. Mika took several deep breaths and sighed. Well then, looks like you can come with me then without looking back. What? Naruto said in surprise. Didn't you hear me when I said I contain the nine-tailed fox in my gut? I heard you. And we're going to get you some heavy-duty training, not the half-assed piecemeal training you've been given. Mika sipped some water and looked at his friend. I'm sorry for leaving you all those years ago. If I'd been there, you had to get your Kekkei Genkai under control. Naruto said waving him off. The old man explained it to me that if you hadn't it would have killed you and all those around you. Naruto said, then looked at him. But that wine thing. Mika laughed. Another bloodline actually. It seems my mother was actually a wind demon. It's like that guy in Suna, where he's got sand. I've got wind, and the great thing is there is air all around, so I don't have to carry a fan to make it. They were silent for a bit until Naruto spoke. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to travel for several days and I'm taking you to see the monk who helped me. He's wise beyond the years and as strong as a Hokage. What can he do for me? Naruto asked. Well, he should be able to help you draw on and control the powers of the fox. It will take time and hard work, Naruto, but when he's done with you, trust me when I say you will be the strongest ninja ever. The pair remained that way for the night. Back in Konoha, Tsunade glared at the scroll on her desk. Those arrogant assholes. How dare they? She raged in her mind. Currently the council was in a session with Ibiki for treason for what they'd done. She swore again as her eyes fell on the necklace and Hitai on her desk. She'd been surprised when Konohamaru stormed into her office yelling at her. Flashback. The door to the office exploded inwards and Tsunade came to her feet and was surprised to see Konohamaru standing on the unconscious body of the Junins that had been guarding the door. How could you? He thought you cared. Konohamaru raged, storming into the office followed by his two teammates. What the hell are you talking about, brat? Tsunade demanded, waving Shizune off. Don't give me that. You signed it along with the rest of those old bastards of the council. He thought of you as an aunt or even a mother, and you betrayed him. Konohamaru snarled, tossing a scroll at her. After all Ne-san did for this village, he brought you back here and you exile him. Tsunade looked at the young academy student in shock. She unrolled the scroll and read the order and was shocked to see her name on there. Those bastards. Those old bastards. She slammed the scroll down. Shizune, get Ibiki and Anko here now along with a full squad of Anbu, make sure none of them are aligned with Danzo. Tsunade looked at the scroll with the exile order in rage. Her eyes looked up to see Konohamaru. I did not sign this, Konohamaru, I swear. She watched as the young man glared at her. I swear on my forefathers that I did not sign this. I promise, I will take care of this. Konohamaru-kun, give her what Naruto Ne-san gave you. Moegi said. Konohamaru still didn't believe the Hokage, but pulled out the Hitai and necklace, dropping them on the desk. Naruto was my friend. He was the first person to see me as Konohamaru, not honorable grandson. He treated me as an equal, and I swear, old lady, I swear I will become Hokage and show this village what happens to those who betray their heroes. Konohamaru spun and stormed out, followed by Udon and Moegi. Tsunade was in shock. Her little brother had been exiled and thought she had been part of it. Jiraiya, she screamed. She needed her old teammate to find the blonde and bring him back. She was soon joined by Ibiki and Anko, and along with Shizune she told them what had happened and what they were going to do. End flashback. She'd had the entire council arrested and Danzo was on the run along with his Roots agents. She looked up, hearing a sound, and Jiraiya was slipping in through the window. Where is he? Did you find him? She demanded. No, I found 2 dead Anbu Root members near the border. It looked like they tried to kill Naruto. I found a kunai with his blood on it. Jiraiya said. He killed them in self-defense, good. Nay, they weren't killed by Naruto. One was burned from the inside out, as if his blood had been set on fire. The other was sliced like ham steak. Jiraiya said. Someone helped Naruto, but I lost their trail in the trees. Tsunade swore. Damn the council. She looked at her old teammate. He's out there, Jiraiya. He's out there and he thinks we all hate him. Heard what the Haruno said then, did you? He asked. Yes. I tore into her and demoted her. I was thinking of making her my new apprentice for Naruto, but after hearing how she treated him, I trashed that idea. Jiraiya pulled her into a hug. We'll find him, Haim. I swear we will. Naruto looked from the hidden mountaintop. He could see the surrounding area for miles in all directions. The mountain was on the border of several lands and it had confused him that it had been hidden. Mikahamaru explained it to him when he uttered his amazement. It's a powerful jutsu. The mountain is time skipped. The only way to access it is by using the hand signs you saw me make. Otherwise you'll pawn through it as if it weren't there. It had been days since his exile from Konoha, the Leaf Village, and during that time traveling further and further away, Mika had taught Naruto proper chakra control exercises and meditation in order to control his and the Kyuubi's chakra better. The problem is you were learning a ninja's way of controlling their chakra. You have the fox's chakra mixed with your own through your whole body. The normal exercises won't work for you properly. He taught Naruto how to focus and explained to him and showed him some basic skills that he told Naruto that Master Kwai had showed him when he first was sent to the Shaolin priest. Naruto admitted that after a day he felt different. Of course you do. It's like night and day. Once you learn the proper ways to mold your chakra, you'll find that everything else will fall into line and you'll have control that will put the Sannin to shame. Naruto explained to Micah at night how he felt different. It's like, I'm calmer, at peace with the world around me. I also feel the fox. Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Naruto, you feel the fox, but do you really feel it? Micah asked. Feel what? Naruto asked, confused and looking at his silver-haired friend. Mikahamaru sighed. Have you ever talked with the Kyuubi? He asked, his voice soft, his eyes looking off to the horizon. Once, Naruto admitted. He saw his friend's questioning gaze and explained. It was Ero Sannin was teaching me to summon. He tossed me off the cliff and I don't know crawled in my own mind or something and told the fox to give me rent. I came out of my head and summoned the boss toad. Mikahamaru shook his head. We really are going to be talking about your senseis. The silver-haired teen muttered and Naruto blinked wondering what he meant about that, and the tone in his friend's voice. Nani? Later Naruto. Please just wait till you speak with Master Kwai. He'll explain it so much better than I ever could. I don't want to say it the wrong way and confuse or frighten you. Micah sighed. Please, for now just work on the meditation exercises I showed you earlier. Naruto nodded. And if you should talk to the Kyuubi again, before we see Master Kwai, please be respectful. What? The damn fox. Just do it. Micah yelled, cutting off whatever insult Naruto was going to say. Naruto blinked. Micah had never raised his voice to him in the past, before he'd left Konoha. Micah sighed seeing Naruto's expression. I'm sorry Naruto. I didn't mean to yell. Just please trust me. I swear on a mountain of Ichiraku ramen that all will be clear once we talk with Master Kwai. Naruto nodded after a moment. Swearing on ramen between them was very big. It was sacred. It was what the two of them had bonded over when they met at the orphanage all those years ago. Now, Mikahamaru said, sitting down across from Naruto, both of them taking a meditative lotus position. Close your eyes, Micah said, and Naruto mirrored him, shutting his own eyes. Calm your mind, focus on your breathing. Breath in and hold. Naruto took a slow breath and did just as he was told. Breath out, remember to release it slowly and relax. Micah reminded him. They did this for some time, just breathing in, holding it and releasing it. After a bit of time, Naruto found himself relaxing. Tension flowed from his muscles and out of him. He allowed his mind to focus on his breathing, and as he relaxed he could feel his senses sharpening, becoming clearer. He could smell the coming storm that was miles away from the mountain. He could smell the earth and stone beneath him. Naruto could smell the surrounding trees, the leaves, the bark, the sap. He could smell the rabbits in the nearby bushes. His enhanced hearing, he could hear the rabbit's heartbeat. The surrounding leaves from the trees sounded loud as they were lightly blown in the breeze. He could hear Micah's slow, steady breaths along with his friend's heartbeat. It was strong and steady. Focusing himself inward, he could hear his own heartbeat start to become in sync with Micah's. He focused further in and could feel the two different chakra in his body. He could feel it flow through all the parts of his body, both his chakra and the Kyuubi's. The fox's chakra, if Naruto was asked to describe it, he would say it felt wild. He swore it smelled of earth, of fire, of wind and water. It felt strong, and when it flowed through his chakra coils with his own, it felt liberating, as if it was the right thing to do. He traced it through his body to the seal, and his mind followed the seal's design. Deeper and deeper he went into his subconscious. He followed the chakra flow, his breathing slowing and his heartbeat relaxing. He was lost in the sensations and jumped when a familiar voice addressed him. Welcome back, brat. Meanwhile, Konoha. Tsunade stood in the council chamber, her eyes focusing on the gathered council. Behind each member was a masked Anbu standing guard. Around the rest of the chamber sat the leaders of 10 of the 12 great clans of Konoha. What is the meaning of this, Tsunade? Aizu, one of the council members, demands. You had us dragged from our homes and kept in cells below the tower for several days. Hamada, another member, speaks up. You overstep your authority, Tsunade. Nozomu, a third member, sneers. Tsunade locks eyes with each of them. I overstep my authority, she repeated. Her hands tightened at her sides, and everyone in the room could hear the tightening and cracking of knuckles. You all are trying to play innocent and think that I am stupid. Did any of you not think I wouldn't find out what you did? We have no idea what you're rambling about, Tsunade. Perhaps you've hit the sake too much in recent days. Suuda sneered. Tsunade narrowed her eyes. I am speaking of you idiots forging my signature and exiling Uzumaki Naruto. You could hear a pin drop in the council room. You are charged with treason. It is punishable by death forging the Hokage's signature. And by what right did you morons think you could exile my little brother? Now Tsunade. Suuda tries to reason, but her fist connecting with his jaw sends the council member crashing through the chamber wall and into the waiting room beyond that is filled with Anbu. That's Lady Hokage to you morons. She says, turning to look at the rest of the council. You stupid fools actually thought you'd get away with it. Naruto Uzumaki has done everything for this village, from containing the Kyuubi since his birth to defeating Gaara of Suna during the Chunin exams, to bringing me back here and convincing me to be Hokage. I'm wondering why he bothered. This village is showing me that it's not worth the price Naruto has paid. Tsunade looked around the chamber, disgust on her face. I hereby charge this council with treason, the sentence is death. Murmurs from the rest in the room is heard. Anbu, leave. The animal-masked nin vanish. Tsunade looks at the clan leaders. I suggest you all leave as well. Once they were through the door, Tsunade looked at the council. I thought long and hard about how to go about your execution. It was one person, a genin, who gave me an idea. Tsunade looked over her shoulder as the doors opened one more time. A small figure wearing black robes and a hood entered slowly, hands hidden by oversized sleeves that were folded together before the figure. I was going through the scrolls the third had left me, when I found one. I was going to use it myself. I was about to sign it with my blood to activate it, when the genin there asked to do it. I hesitated, and in that I was beaten. Now I present to you, Uzumaki's revenge, I give you your executioner. The hood slipped back, revealing dark blue hair, pale white eyes focused with the veins of the Byakugan. The slender features of Hyuga Hinata stared back, and her eyes burned with raw anger and hatred. When she spoke, it wasn't the voice that the council had heard before. The voice was hollow, cold. Your souls are stained with corruption. Hinata spoke, but it wasn't her. Tsunade put a hand on the girl's shoulders. Hinata is the first nin since Kushina Uzumaki to host the spirit of vengeance. She said. Hinata's hair moved as if blown by a breeze, and the black robes whipped around her as she advanced on the council. You have been weighed. Several more steps brought her closer to the trapped council. In the light they could see her skin was nearly bone white now. Her Byakugan eyes went from white to black. You have been measured. She reached the first member of the council, and her gentle fist style connected, and the counselor behind the first was covered with gore as the vengeance spirit enhanced blow blew a hole through the chest of the council member. And you have been found lacking. The cold spirit-possessed voice of Hinata said, and another council member fell after a flurry of gentle fist strikes that normally would have shut down the numerous chakra points in a body was instead blowing holes in bodies. Tsunade stood before the door, and any council member that rushed at her to escape met with her chakra-powered punch that sent them flying towards the spirit-possessed Hinata, who with a Juken strike would blow holes in them. Suuda, who was trying to escape out the waiting room he'd landed in, turned to see a blood-covered Hyuga. You exiled him, and all he did was the right thing. My host may have trouble speaking her heart, but the boy has been marked by fate and destiny. You have denied them, and for that you will pay. As the spirit of vengeance, I will do what I can to repair the threads of destiny. You, however, will no longer witness them. The Juken blow to the head obliterated Suuda's head as if it wasn't there. 8 trigrams, 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms. The spirit of vengeance possessed Hyuga looked at the body of Suuda that looked like Swiss cheese. 8 trigrams, 64 palms. The last blows rained down, and the body was now so much sludge as it slid to the floor. Tsunade sighed. She lied to the council. When she'd come back to her office after meeting with the Jonin instructors, she'd found Hinata standing amidst the remains of the safe. She was applying her blood to the scroll. Flashback. Tsunade stepped over the unconscious bodies of her guard and entered her office to see Shizune tied to a chair unconscious. Tsunade turned to see Hinata standing amidst the remains of the vault, scroll in hand. What is the meaning of this? Tsunade demanded. Hinata looked up, her eyes wide. She seemed to shrink upon herself, then as if mentally bracing she looked at the angry Hokage before her. They must pay for what they did to end Naruto K-kun. Tsunade looked at the genin. They will be executed. No. Hinata yelled. All his life, the Sea Council has gone out of its way to hurt and hinder Naruto-kun. When you told us they exiled him. Tsunade saw tears in the young girl's eyes. It took her restraint not to go to the girl that seemed to care for her adopted little brother. Hinata. No. I remember my mother speaking about a sealed scroll that was here. It contains a vengeance spirit. I will do what I must for end Naruto. If they will be punished, I will do it. Tsunade watched as Hinata broke the seal and after reading it, bit her thumb and a drop of blood touched the scroll. A flash of white light enveloped the Hyuga heiress and a shockwave knocked Tsunade off her feet. When she looked up, Hinata stood there. Free. The cold hollow voice said. The girl's head edged to the side as if listening to a conversation only she could hear. Conditions accepted. Vengeance will be served. Tsunade felt a chill run up her spine. What will this cost us? She thought as a shadow formed a cloak around the Hyuga girl. And what will this mean for Naruto, who didn't even know she cared? End flashback. Vengeance has been served. The cold voice said, and Tsunade found the girl standing before her. Remind the girl when she awakens of our deal. What deal? Tsunade demanded of the vengeance spirit. I wish to meet her chosen. For once so pure to offer me freedom to walk the land in the face of evil, I am intrigued. Fear not, Hokage. My lot in existence is to serve. I return to the scroll when my host dies. The Hyuga had a grin on her face at that. But that will be as hard as killing a demon or a Hanyu. Till I am needed, peace, Hokage of the Leaf. Tsunade watched as the girl seemed to shimmer and as color returned to her skin, her eyes returned to the white eyes of the Hyuga, the cloak dissolved around her leaving her in her clothes. Did I do it? Hinata asked as she slumped to the floor unconscious. Tsunade looked at the remains of the council and knew they would need some mops and sponges to get the remains off the floor and walls. Yeah, you did fine. Suan said, picking her up and carrying her from the chamber of death as it would be called in Konoha after this day. The sun was rising and Naruto looked to Mikahamaru. Now why couldn't we find this sensei of yours yesterday? The blonde Jinchuriki asked. He was in the village at the base of the mountain. It was Tuesday, he plays shogi on Tuesday. Naruto face planted to the ground hearing that. What? Mikahamaru laughed at his friend's yell. Calm down. He'll be back in a bit. Mika sighed and looked at Naruto. Since yesterday, the blonde was a bundle of nervous energy. He told Mikahamaru of his meeting with the Kyuubi. Flashback. Welcome back, brat. Naruto spun around and realized he'd drifted into the back of his own mind in meditation. What the hell? You act like you don't want to see me. I'm crushed. The pair of glowing red eyes glared down at Naruto from behind the cage and seal. Maybe because I don't want to see you, fuzzball. Naruto said. So insolent. You know who I am, and you still act like a hairless monkey your ancestors are descended from. The Kyuubi said. Naruto realized that this was different than the last time. The Kyuubi was acting different. Confused brat. Naruto could tell the Kyuubi was actually laughing at him, but he remembered Mika's warning. Please, be respectful. And Naruto bit back the dozen of taunts that he could hurl. He settled for nodding. You're not as stupid as I first feared. The Kyuubi admitted. Movement could be heard in Naruto that the Kyuubi was laying down in the cage. Slowly he walked towards it and stopped before the bars. No threats. No promises of death. Naruto asked, confused. A snort from behind the bars and in the shadows was heard. No, Kit. I woke up cranky and was still confused from the genjutsu I had been under when I attacked the Leaf Village. A deep sigh could be heard and Naruto leaned against the bars. Before that, I knew Minato. He was honorable, respected in the realm of summons. Even while I struggled to break the spell on me, he delayed as long as he could before he pulled out calling upon the Shinigami. Naruto could hear the sadness in the fox demon's voice. Did you know even when he was sealing me, and putting my spirit into hibernation, he apologized. To not only you for what he was doing, but to me as well. He wept. Q-san. Naruto asked, not sure if the honorific was correct. He barely used them on people like OG-san and he'd been the third Hokage. What, Kit? Why are you acting different? Silence filled the cage and Naruto was thinking of asking again when the Kyuubi spoke. I'm old, Kit. I've seen civilizations rise and fall. I've seen the birth and extinction of races. I'm never going to have a family of my own. My body was destroyed when I was sealed inside you. Naruto listened as Micah suggested he do. He wasn't sure what to say anyways and so he listened. When I woke up during your mission when you thought your teammate had been killed, I wasn't fully awake. When you showed up demanding chakra I still wasn't fully awake. The nine-tailed fox demon explained. And like some people, I woke up cranky. It took me time to regain my full memories and look upon yours. When that child who stank of snakes rammed that lighting attack into your chest, Kyuubi sighed. I felt fear for the first time in a millennia. You thought you were going to die. Naruto said. No, Kit. It wasn't for me I felt fear. It was for you. During your battle you did something that hasn't been seen in a long time. Your friend with you now has the same potential. I saw that potential nearly wasted for a spoiled child having a delusion of grandeur. Naruto wasn't sure what to say. I'm tired, Kit. I'm using a lot of my own energy to rebuild your body. Your poor diet has stunted your growth. You should be as tall as your friend who smells of blood and wind. How do you know what Micah smells like? Naruto asked. A chuckle from the cell and Naruto sees the Kyuubi's eyes lock on him. I can't control you, Kit, but I can enhance your senses and see what you see, know what you know. The seal works both ways. You get my chakra, and you were supposed to be able to tap into my knowledge, but that time passed. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Another sigh. Gee, the great fox demon does that a lot it seems. While I slept, you were supposed to know what I know. My vast knowledge of jutsus was supposed to be absorbed by you. Naruto shrugged. Don't look at me. The only one I think who would know would be Ojiazan, but he's dead and now, I'm exiled from Konoha and I doubt Oba-chan or Ero Sanin would give that kind of information to me. Kyuubi said. Hey Kit. Yeah, Naruto answered. Your friend. The silver-haired one. Mikahamaru. What about him? Naruto asked. Ask him why he smells of dragons. The Kyuubi asked. Naruto was confused but felt himself leaving his mind. He wondered what the Kyuubi meant by that, well that and why the fox kept calling him Kit. End flashback. Relax, Ruto. Micah said. Naruto saw his friend was resting against a tree. How come we have to wait here? Can't we wait at this Kwai's house? Naruto asked. Naruto had asked Micah about what the Kyuubi has said and asked. Micah said Kwai would explain and insisted Naruto remain patient till then. Because Kwai has his home under the same spell as the mountain. And only he can allow access. Micah explained. Well, what if he's in there and we have to wait days? Naruto asked, sitting down next to his friend. Then we wait days. Micah said with a smirk. He knew Naruto had a hard time sitting still. It came from the boundless energy the blonde had, and that back in Konoha, a still Naruto usually ended up a beaten down Naruto. Now Micah-san, there is no need to tease your friend so. You know I've been sitting here watching you meditate since the sun rose above the horizon. Naruto jumped to his feet, a kunai appearing in each hand in a relaxed guard position. Micah chuckled as he rose to his feet and turned. There sitting on a tree branch was an elderly man in bright orange and red robes, a shaven head with fuzzy white eyebrows and a long mustache and goatee. Think Mako with Pay My features from Kill Bill. Master Kwai. Micah said, bowing to the man relaxing above him. Kwai bowed his head and his dark eyes focusing on Naruto. You return, and brought your friend like you promised. Hi, Master Kwai, allow me to present Uzumaki Naruto, formerly of Konohagakure, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and my brother in all but blood. Micah said, continuing to bow. Hi, Naruto said, waving to the Shaolin who was still relaxing above them. Nice robes. Micah snorted and looked at his friend. What? They're a good color. Naruto defended himself. Micah shook his head and above them Kwai chuckled. Thank you, Naruto-san. Your jumpsuit is of fine coloration for you as well. Naruto smiled widely at that. Dude, that so sucks. Your clothes scream, "Here I am, kill me now. I swear you two must be color blind." Micah said. An acorn smacked him in the forehead and he glared at the monk who was looking at him with a raised eyebrow. "Coming from you, that is a compliment," Kwai admonished. "Now, I believe we have much to discuss, and as I am an old man, we shall do so over tea." Naruto didn't see him move, but the old man was gone. When he looked around, he saw him standing before a gate that wasn't there before. Whaat? Where the hell did that come from? How did the old man move so fast? Mikahamaru sighed. Seems a lot of people do that around Naruto, frequently. Time skipped, remember. And I'm sure he'll show you how he moves that quick. Don't fall for his old man performance. He could whip both of us and sip his damn tea while doing it. Hardly Micah-san. Both boys jumped as Kwai appeared between them. "I would never endanger my tea set while demonstrating your continuing lack of manners. Now this way, boys, and remember, while this is my home, it was at one time a temple, so show respect." He vanished again and Naruto looked at his friend who motioned and together they passed through the gates. Konoha. Tsunade looked at the gathered Jonin. "And the news?" she asked. "Many people are upset you had the council executed for what they did," Uruka said from where he was working Shizun's desk. "Guy, how is your team?" Tsunade asked. Maida Guy was not his usual loud self. Recent events had dimmed his passion for the village he called home. Lee is training after his surgery. Ten is making sure he isn't pushing too hard past your orders. He looked at the Hokage. Neji, as you and Lady Shizun know, has woken and should be up by the end of the week. Team 9 should be ready in 2-3 weeks for active duty, Guy said in a subdued tone. Tsunade nodded. "Asuma?" she asked, looking at the smoking Jonin. Her sensei's son pulled his cigarette out and looked towards Shikamaru and Ino. "Choji will be out of action for at least a month, maybe 2. His using all 3 food pills did a number on his body and his father has informed me that any rush and it could kill him. Shikamaru, as you know, is recovered enough for light duty, and Ino needs more training after recent events. Team 8 is out of action," he concluded. "Kurenai?" Tsunade asked. "Kiba and Akamaru will be down indefinite amount of time. While Kiba will be ready to return to duty in a week, Akamaru, I am told by Kiba's mother, won't be able to do anything for 2 months minimum." The Jonin of Team 10 was frustrated. Shino is ready for active duty after spending time with his clan and rebuilding his hive. She looked at the bug user who nodded silently at his sensei's evaluation. "I have not seen Hinata since the revelation about Uzumaki. I know where Hinata is," Tsunade said, cutting her off. "She is undergoing specialized training with a new jutsu Shizun and I taught her." Kurenai bowed her head, but the worry on her face told the Hokage she would have to reveal recent events with the Hyuga heiress soon. "Now I need to Lady Tsunade." Everyone turned to see Kakashi Hatake standing at the back of the room. His one eye looked haggard, his clothes looked like he'd slept in them for several days straight. His hair was hanging low. "Yes, Hatake. Team 7 is out of commission." The Hokage cut him off. "Sasuke, should he awaken, will be on trial for abandoning the village. He was under a lot of pressure. Surely you can show him lenience," Kakashi said. "Tell me, Hatake, what of your other students?" she demanded. "Well, Sakura has been at Sasuke's side, and it's sad about Naruto, but I'm sure he'll land on his feet." The killing intent washed over the room and Tsunade glared at the silver-haired Jonin. "I revise my judgment. Of course. Once Sasuke recovers," Kakashi was saying. "Team 7 isn't out of commission," Tsunade said, cutting him off. "As of right now, Team 7 is disbanded. Inform Haruno that she is to report to the academy. She will be working with the 7-year-olds in CL 410. But, Lady Tsunade, be reasonable," Kakashi said. "Reasonable? You're lucky I don't demote you to Chunin, Kakashi. You never taught, you favored the Uchiha. As of right now you are on probation, and you will be reporting to Kenshin at the armory." Guy, Kurenai and Asuma looked at Kakashi sadly. They had warned him in the past that this could happen for his favoritism. But I need to train Sasuke." "The council," the copy nin stuttered. "The council doesn't exist anymore," Tsunade roared. "They had no business in military affairs to begin with. My grandfather and uncle would be sickened at what they have done to this village." Tsunade took a moment to compose herself. Now, as I was saying, I'm going to reshuffle the teams a bit. Kurenai, you will be taking Ino and Shikamaru on your team. Asuma, I'm going to need you to step up and work with some of the patrols. What about Hinata? She's going to be on special assignment for some time. Kurenai. It is vital she isn't disturbed for now. Tsunade said. The truth was she was concerned about the vengeance spirit that was sharing Hinata's body. The scroll had vanished after Hinata had signed it, preventing Tsunade from seeing what could be done about the spirit. Guy, I need you to work with your team when they are up and running. Until then, I'm going to add you to the patrols as well. Tsunade thought a moment. She was about to speak when the door banged open and Shizune raced in. She looked frazzled. Shizune, what is it? Aren't you supposed to be with Hinata? Tsunade asked, seeing her apprentice and friend in such a state. Lady T. Tsunade, Hinata, Shizune was gasping for breath. Hinata woke up. Well, that was quicker than I thought. The Hokage muttered. Well, that's good news, but. No. Shizune cut her off. She woke up and is going to kill Sasuke. Tsunade looked up, seeing Kakashi vanish with a shunshin. Damn. The fifth Hokage swore, pulling the same move, leaving a room full of nin with a ton of questions. Konoha Hospital. Sakura had been watching over Sasuke for the last several days. She would check his chart and would take a moist rag and wipe his brow. Damn that Naruto. Look what he did to Sasuke-kun. Sakura thought as she studied her crush. Kakashi had left to go to a meeting, but Sakura didn't care. She only focused on the raven-haired youth before her. She'd been so lost in thought that she didn't hear the door open behind her. Hello, Haruno. Sakura spun around at the hollow feminine voice. Her green eyes locked on the pure black eyes of Hinata. Where they would normally be white, they were of the deepest black. A black cloak hung around her body. It moved as if blown by a breeze. Hinta. Sakura asked in surprise. Have you come to see how Sasuke-kun is doing? The cold laugh sent a chill up Sakura's spine. I haven't come to see him, Haruno. I've come to enact vengeance. Sasuke Uchiha's judgment day is at hand. What do you mean? Sasuke hasn't done anything wrong. Sakura said, standing up and putting herself between the coma patient Sasuke and Hinata, who was acting very strange. Leave Hinata. Sakura demanded. Another laugh. Cuckoo. Isn't this rich? Know this little girl. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a street sweeper, sooner or later you visit the Reaper. Vengeance has been called forth. The black Byakugan eyes turned to the unconscious body of the Uchiha. Sasuke Uchiha, your soul is stained with corruption and sin. Hatred and greed have been your maker. Now your end is here. Sakura's eyes widened as Hinata turned her eyes upon her. Hinata's skin looked bone white. She braced herself, unsure of what to make of the once quiet and stuttering girl. Move, child, or you shall share his fate. Sakura saw the gentle fist stance of the Jukin, and Sakura was unarmed and between what she could think of as heaven and hell. Last time in Konoha Exiles. Sakura's eyes widened as Hinata turned her eyes upon her. Hinata's skin looked bone white. She braced herself, unsure of what to make of the once quiet and stuttering girl. Move, child, or you shall share his fate. Sakura saw the gentle fist stance of the Jukin, and Sakura was unarmed and between what she could think of as heaven and hell. And now, the rigid hand was caught just before impact. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura screeched in relief as her sensei caught Hinata's arm by the wrist. Kakashi grunted. What is she? He thought as it was taking everything he had to hold the hand from connecting. Sakura, move, Kakashi ordered, his concentration on the girl before him. What the hell happened to her? She looks possessed. Kakashi thought and shoved hard, sending the pale Hyuga back out the door. She said she's going to kill Sasuke-kun. Sakura said. Stay back, Sakura. Kakashi ordered. Something isn't right with her. No duh, came the cold voice. Hinata stood there, her eyes locked on Kakashi. You two have done harm to him. The black eyes scanned the three people in the room. Contempt, hate, apathy. He just wanted to be accepted, acknowledged, and you all did is hate and spew your spleen upon him. Who? Sasuke-kun. Sakura asked, confused. Stupid twit. The one this shell favors. The one you all know as Naruto. What? Sakura was confused even more. Who cares about that baka? He attacked Sasuke-kun. Look what he did to him. Sakura said, pointing at the coma patient. By rights he should have killed him, but he kept his vow to you, Haruno. He brought him back. He kept him out of the hands of Orochimaru and the Sound Village. And what did you do to him? Before anyone could blink, Hinata was before Sakura and held her down so she was eye to eye with Hinata. Lust, envy, you stink of them. Your soul is stained with corruption. Look into my eyes, and feel the pain you have inflicted upon Naruto-kun. Feel my wrath, penance stare. Kakashi tried to intervene, but he was intercepted by Tsunade. We need to stop her. She's possessed. He informed the Hokage. I'm aware of what she is, Kakashi. Hinata is the host to the spirit of vengeance. She made a blood pact with it. What? Why? Kakashi asked. His head snapped around hearing Sakura's keening wail as she slumped to the floor and folded herself into a fetal position. Her eyes wide, her breathing rapid, and she broke out in a cold sweat. What did she do to her? He asked, looking at the Hokage. She showed Sakura all of Naruto's pain. Tsunade said. She'd found some scrolls that mentioned the spirit's capabilities. The penance stare was considered the worst punishment other than death that the spirit could inflict. Sakura, if she recovered, would forever be marked by what she mentally witnessed. Hinata moved towards Sasuke. Stop, Tsunade ordered. The black eyes turned towards her. By what right do you order me to halt vengeance? Tsunade sighed. Naruto fought to bring him back alive. It would be foolish to kill him after the suffering him and his team went through to bring him back. Vengeance must be served. The spirit's cold voice said through Hinata's lips. It will be. You have my word. She offered her hand to the girl. Read me, she said. Lady Hokage, Kakashi said in concern. Read my aura. See what Naruto means to me. She told the vengeance-driven Hyuga. A pale white hand lashed out and Tsunade was surprised how warm the girl felt. She felt the spark and knew that the spirit was reading her aura. You claim sisterly affection, but it matronly that you truly feel. You hide your feelings for fear. The spirit released Tsunade's hand and glared at the unconscious Uchiha. Your punishment has been postponed, Uchiha. Know that vengeance might be delayed, but never stopped. The black eyes turned towards Kakashi. He is being punished, and will be punished further. Tsunade said. Pervert, know this: should the one this shall calls Uzumaki Naruto desire vengeance, it shall be his to claim. The more memories I see from my host and from those around, the more and more I see that Uzumaki Naruto has the right to call for vengeance, for Konoha has failed to honor a true hero time and time again, even ignoring the dying wish of the fourth Hokage. How do you know? Tsunade asked. Your aura held some of the knowledge, but it was his memories I saw. Kakashi Hatake, holding your sensei's own son in contempt, what would Minato say? Hinata smirked then, and it wasn't a friendly one. Or my previous host, the son of my previous host, the black eyes unfocused for a bit. The girl is aware of all that has happened. This shell was most displeased to hear how the one called Naruto Uzumaki was treated. It looks like I might be very busy in the coming years. Hinata slumped and Tsunade caught her. What happened? Kakashi asked. The possession leaves her exhausted. She'll sleep another day. Tsunade looked at the Jonin. Was she right? Did you mistreat Naruto? Kakashi winced knowing he was going to get it no matter what he said. Naruto woke to the sun in his face and he could hear the light sounds of the wind chimes scattered around the former temple. Yesterday had been enlightening speaking with Master Kwai. The Shaolin priest had listened to Naruto's story from as far back as he could remember, only asking questions to clarify certain things. They talked a bit about the Kyuubi, and then Micah told Naruto about his own training and his ability with the wind came from his demon heritage. Where you are a vessel, I actually had a demon in the family. She was one of the wind dragons, her name Sanya. Naruto felt the Kyuubi in the back of his mind. He could feel the Nine-Tails' surprise at hearing that name, and decided to ask him about it later. So because I am descended from a demon, I can control the wind. Micah finished. Do you hate me for not telling you? No, Naruto yelled. Stupid Tem. I have the Kyuubi, you think it matters to me who you are descended from? Both boys exchanged a look and chuckled. As enlightening as this is, Master Kwai had said, clearing his throat. There is much we need to discuss, as well as plan your training schedule. Naruto remembered the hours they spoke about his past training and the looks Master Kwai and Mikahamaru had. They are not fit to be called Sensei Naruto-san. Master Kwai said to him before letting him go to bed. Know that in the coming weeks and months, I will teach you properly, and when your training with me is complete, I will offer you an option to learn from someone with more experience than me. Kwai said in that even tone he'd used. Naruto and Mika were shuffled off to bed with promise of training to begin in the morning. Now he was awake and getting dressed. He stepped out of his room to find Mika in pants and a gray shirt looking owlishly around trying to wake up. About time you woke up, he muttered. Sensei had me up before the sun running laps. And in the days after this Naruto-san will be joining you. Master Kwai said from where he was sitting. A cup of tea in one hand and a walking stick laying on the ground next to him. Now Naruto, first we need to get your body prepared. You will run laps with Mika-san and then the two of you will fetch water from the stream. The tanks are running low. Naruto looked out to the yard to see the large water towers. Nani? There are 6 of them, the two of you will carry water from the stream at the base of the mountain. Mika will show you the direct path. Mika cursed under his breath. Let's go Naruto. We have laps to run first, then water to get. The silver-haired teen set off at a steady jog. When they were on their laps, Naruto looked at his friend. Mika. Naruto said getting a grunt from his friend. I thought you said he'd train me. He is Naruto. Your body needs to be strengthened. Once he's sure of that he will begin teaching you his taijutsu styles. Trust me bro, this is going to be a long haul, and in the end it will be good for you. Naruto grumbled about running. He wasn't serious about hauling water up the mountain was he? Naruto asked on their 4th lap around the mountain. He was panting and had a stitch in his side. Deadly serious. Why not use a water jutsu to fill them? Naruto asked. Because carrying buckets of water up the path is another form of exercise. You need to know Naruto, you were badly trained. Basic exercises that would help you, obviously you weren't told of. But none of the other students in my CLK knew it either. I never saw any of them doing this. Naruto said as he continued to run. He could feel the Kyuubi's chakra healing his muscles as he ran. I don't understand it either. I know the other villages I've been to since leaving Konoha, their ninja undergo extreme training, but they seem weaker in genjutsus and ninjutsus. A lot of other nations seem to focus more on the weapons and taijutsus, while Konoha is known for its Kekkei Genkei fetish. Look at it this way, if you ever get trapped, or can't use chakra, you'll be physically stronger. Naruto thought of another genin, one that couldn't use chakra, one that should be back on his feet if. He stopped that thought. It led to depression thinking of Tsunade. She exiled me. She signed the order herself. He thought of her flowing script and sigil at the bottom of the document. They did 10 laps around the mountain, and overhead the noon sun beat down upon the sweating pair. As they stumbled into the temple courtyard they found Master Kwai sitting in the shade of a sakura tree sipping his tea. Water, he said and both boys glared at him. When are you going to start training? Naruto asked. Kwai sipped his tea. Hey. Naruto saw the monk raise an eyebrow at him but continued to sip his tea. That's it. Naruto lunged, only to find himself changing direction in mid-air and Kwai just look at him with a raised eyebrow. He grabs Naruto's wrist dodging the intended blow and without moving twists it so Naruto is on his knees facing away, his arm bent at an angle that indicates it can be broken easily. Master Kwai sets his teacup down and motions for Mika to move the set away. He then turns his gaze upon Naruto. Do you think you could actually beat me? The old man sounded amused. Yes. Naruto yelled trying to wrest his arm away, but Kwai shook his head and added more pressure. I could snap your arm like a twig and kill you where you are. Now, do you actually think you could beat me? No. Naruto gritted through the pain. What the hell is this old guy? Last night he was all smiles and looked like a breeze could blow him down, but this is insane. Naruto thought. You are aware I could kill you for attacking me? Kwai asked. Yes. Naruto said through the pain, his shoulder felt like it was on fire, and he couldn't move off his knees to relieve pressure. Is it your wish to die then? Kwai asked stroking his beard, his eyes amused. No. Naruto shouted and tried to struggle, but Kwai added a bit more pressure stopping him from moving. Then you are simply stupid. Kwai said shaking his head. Rise stupid and look at me. I wish to peer into your eyes and see what I have to work with. He released Naruto's arm and the blonde took a moment before getting to his feet to shake his arm and rotate his shoulder, making sure it wasn't damaged. Naruto stood, his eyes down, and Kwai laughed. You are weak. Out of shape. With one move you are breathing hard. If this is the caliber of ninja in the world today, then it is perhaps time for the way of the ninja to pass. Naruto said nothing, but he was seething inside. Is there anything you do well other than yell like a howler monkey? I fight well, I know some kick moves. Ah yes. Your doppelganger jutsu and the Rasengan. Kwai shook his head. Far too dangerous in the hands of someone so stupid to attack without thinking. Kwai stepped away from the tree. Well then, stupid boy, show me your kick moves. Naruto spun and putting his fingers in the cross position summoned up the chakra. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He roared, and with a puff of smoke there were 100 Narutos in the temple courtyard. Kwai stood there impassive with an eyebrow raised. He looked over at Micah. You might want to fetch water, your friend is going to be unconscious in a moment and I would like some tea. Oh, it's on now, old man. Naruto and his clones roared. Many of them started to form the Rasengan. Kwai looked bored at them and stroked his beard. You're going down. The real Naruto roared. Rasengan. Last time. Oh, it's on now, old man. Naruto and his clones roared. Many of them started to form the Rasengan. Kwai looked bored at them and stroked his beard. You're going down. The real Naruto roared. Rasengan. Now. Rasengan. 4 Naruto clones met their end and the original was blown backwards. Master Kwai stood there looking bored, combing his fingers through his long goatee, totally untouched. Pitiful. Naruto got up and attacked with a flurry of punches and kicks. Master Kwai blocked them all with one hand. He stepped to the side avoiding a lunging Naruto, and after the blonde staggered past he smacked him across the back of the head. I can't believe you are the container for the great Kyuubi. Kwai continued. You're sloppy and weak. You have no control and your emotions rule your every action. I'll show you, you bastard. Naruto roared and summoned up 6 new Kage Bunshins. The first 4 went on the attack trying to strike Kwai from 3 different angles while Naruto used the last 2 clones to make his Rasengan. He then lunged and Kwai looked at him, then shook his head before tilting to the side and striking Naruto in the stomach with an elbow. When Naruto looked up again after catching his breath from the hard blow, he saw Kwai standing beneath the tree once more watching sakura blossoms falling. Pulling a kunai he kicked up to his feet and charged. He swiped only to see it pthru Kwai, who had turned and smirked at him. An after image, but how? Naruto thought as he spun. Oh, you want to play with kunai? Very well. Attack me with intent to kill me. Let's see how good you are. Try and land a blow. Naruto didn't need another invitation and lunged with the kunai. Kwai moves aside with minimal twists of his torso or head. Naruto's moves are filled with anger, effort and frustration, while Kwai moves with minimal effort. Come now, boy, can't you hit an old man? Kwai taunts and Naruto doubles his efforts. Your ability is rather poor. Kwai says as he strikes Naruto in the chest with an open palm strike that sends him flying back against the temple wall. Naruto checks his chest and coughs up a wad of blood. He spits it into the dirt and glares at the old man, who laughs and strokes his beard. Cuckoo. I've fought corpses who posed more of a challenge than you. Now get up and fight me, you damn demon spawn. Naruto obliges and attacks with the fury of a wild animal. Aunt. Oh it. Naruto shakes his head trying to rid the voice he's hearing in the back of his head as he continues to swing wildly with the kunai and adding kicks and punches with his free hand. Kwai ducks and hops about dodging each attack, and then leaps straight in the air. He lands on the edge of the kunai and Naruto's eyes widen in shock, and at the kunai in his hand unable to believe what he is seeing. Kwai smiles and looks down at Naruto. From here, I would like to introduce you to my foot. Kwai backflips off the kunai and kicks Naruto in the face during mid-flip, sending him crashing into the nearby tree. Naruto rises slower than before and looks on as Kwai holds the dropped kunai in his hand, twirling it with a ease that showed years of mastery. He stops it and throws it into the dirt at Naruto's feet, burying the blade to the handle. Do you yield, or would you like to try again? Kwai asks. Drop the attitude, sensei. Naruto turns to see Micah carrying a pair of buckets on a pole over his shoulder. Mind your place and fetch water. This is between me and the boy. Kwai said. Micah shook his head and made eye contact with Naruto. The pair shared a long stare and Naruto understood. He slowed his breathing, slow steady breaths. He closed his eyes and tried to calm himself. About damn time you calm down, Kit. Kyuubi. No, I'm the Viper, I'm here to vipe your windows. Yes, Kyuubi. Did the monk hit you in the head while I wasn't watching? No, no more than anyone else. What's up with him? Last night. This is a test, Kit. He's seeing what makes you tick. Kyuubi said. But why does he need to say those things? Why not just say? Would you go all out if you weren't mad? Kyuubi asked. I didn't think so. Now, Kit, we need to work on this. Keep calm, and use these moves. Naruto blinked as the Kyuubi filled his mind with images. How the hell? Later, Kit. I promise. Now let's show this bead-wearing fossil what the vessel of the Kyuubi no Kitsune is capable of. Naruto straightened and took the stance that had Kwai raise a wizened eyebrow. Naruto was standing with his left leg forward, his torso turned a bit. His right arm edged back with his fist even with his hip. He brought his left hand up, palm facing Kwai. Bring it on, old man. Naruto said. Kwai studied him a moment longer and nodded as if listening to his own voice. He came at Naruto with several punches. Naruto managed to dodge a few, but more of them hit him than he was able to block. Come on, Kit. Like this. The Kyuubi said, and several more images slammed into his brain at the same time he was kicked in the face. Naruto shook it off and caught Kwai's leg. My turn, he said, spinning and tossing the old monk aside. Kwai landed on his feet and with a flurry of palm strikes sent Naruto crashing into the temple wall once more. I'm nearly a millennia old, and you haven't even caused me to sweat. He says and kicks the kunai off the ground and with a flick of his hand slaps it and it shatters. You're not going to make me mad again. Naruto tells him. Kwai raises an eyebrow. Okay, Kit. Now try this. Kyuubi suggests and Naruto is in motion without realizing it and Kwai stepped back. He dodged the first 6 attacks, but the spinning back fist he avoided left him open for the leaping roundhouse kick. Kwai went flying and just managed to flip and land with his feet on the wall, then with a flip he landed on his feet. Naruto was about to attack again, when Kwai held up a hand. Stop. Naruto skidded to a halt and looked at the old man in surprise. What? Why? Naruto asked. Kwai motioned for him to sit and they once more sat under the tree and the old man once more had a cup of tea. Naruto blinked, wondering where it has come from. I apologize for my harsh words, Naruto-san. I did not mean to upset you, but I needed to gauge you honestly. Kwai bowed his head. It's okay. Kyuubi told me. Ah, yes. It was after I kicked you into the tree. I saw the change. Does he speak with you often? Kwai asked. Not really. Just in the last few days actually. Naruto admitted. I see. Kwai spoke. Naruto-san, while I can train you to be better, there is another path. One that the Kyuubi can show you. One that, Micah, sit and join us. Is my water bin filled? Yeah, Micah said, dropping down next to Naruto with a grunt. How? That should have taken all day. Naruto said. Water jutsu. Micah said with a smirk. I multiplied the water that I carried up and there you have it. Micah then looked at Master Kwai. You know you do have plumbing. But the spring water at the bottom of the mountain tastes so much better. Kwai argued. That's a crock. Micah countered. Guys, Naruto said, trying to get them back on track, which freaked him out as he was the first to admit that he had zero attention span. Let them go, Kit. Kyuubi said in his mind. We have much to discuss. Okay. And what's this Kit stuff? Stupid old man. Perverted brat. Sigh. Perhaps we should find some place quiet. Konoha. Tsunade glared at Kakashi, who had gathered the Jonin and had come to her office. What is the meaning of this, Kakashi? She demanded. It's about you hiding Hinata's possession and allowing her to attack Sakura and Sasuke. The one-eyed Jonin said. Tsunade's eyes glared at him, and he took an involuntary step back. And by what right do you have spilling secrets? I thought I ordered you not to talk about it after our conversation leaving that room. Kakashi backed up even more. The conversation had been brief and one-sided. Flashback. What the hell happened to her? Kakashi asked after Shizune had taken Hinata away, leaving Suon to pick up Sakura and put her to bed. Hinata made a pact with a vengeance spirit. I have not yet found out what they bargained over, but I do know it has been working with her in punishing those who have done Naruto wrong. Tsunade looked at Kakashi. You wouldn't have done Naruto any wrongs now, would you have, Hatake? She then looked at him hard. You will not discuss this with anyone, Kakashi. Hinata might be the one thing that brings Naruto back. End flashback. Well, Hatake? Tsunade asked, her eyes narrowing. I thought the Jonin instructors had a right to know what is happening. Hinata is not your concern, Hatake, unless you have something you don't want known. Tsunade asked. Kurenai stepped forward. But Hinata is my concern, Lady Tsunade. I was her guardian for many years. Her father. Damn it to hell. She's a ninja of this village and she made a choice. One that could strengthen this village. Tsunade said. Or wipe us from the face of the earth. Kakashi said. Lady Tsunade, how could you let this happen? Kurenai asked. Hinata. Hinata made the pact herself. She was in here and had broken into the vault looking for the contract. She made the pact before I could even think of stopping her. It's done with and we need to figure out how to get Naruto back. He is the reason, and I hope the key to solving Hinata's affliction. You make it sound like she's caught a strange disease. Asuma said from where he stood. She's possessed. Kakashi said. We must exorcise the spirit. Tsunade laughed and stood up. She went to the shelf against the wall and her fingers danced over several old leather-bound books. She pulled a thick one and flipped it open to a bookmarked page. She dropped the book onto her desk and spun it so the gathered Jonin could see. Kurenai stepped forward, her red eyes scanning the page. The spirit of vengeance is a heavenly blessed spirit created by Lord Kami. It may only be used by a pure soul. Kurenai looked at the page a moment. A pact between the spirit of vengeance is bartered and once an accord is made, the spirit bonds with the summoner, until the end of the summoner's life. Kurenai looked at the Hokage. There is no way. Hinata's death, and trust me when I say that it will be harder to kill her now that she's bonded with the spirit. Kurenai looked at the book. So she falls under its control whenever. No, she and the spirit work together. She is aware of everything, the spirit shares its experience and knowledge. And from what I've seen of its history, it has acquired some considerable knowledge. Tsunade looked at Kakashi. The last one to use the spirit was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, wife of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, mother of Naruto Uzumaki. Her eyes hardened. The Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, exiled nin of Konoha. She then smiled coldly. Tell me, Kakashi, do you have any sins against Naruto? Last time. Tsunade looked at Kakashi. The last one to use the spirit was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, wife of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, mother of Naruto Uzumaki. Her eyes hardened. The Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, exiled nin of Konoha. She then smiled coldly. Tell me, Kakashi, do you have any sins against Naruto? Now. Kakashi Hatake, former Anbu operative, Jonin instructor of Genin Team 7, former student of Minato Namikaze. The Sharingan Kakashi. The man who copied over 1,000 jutsus. Now he was Kakashi Hatake, having a panic attack. He'd returned from the meeting he'd set up in hopes of saving his students by forcing the Hokage's hand, and instead he'd ended up demoted. He was now a genin. He, Kakashi Hatake, was a genin. Tsunade's punishment for him telling the Jonin about Hinata. Now he entered his apartment and was thinking of losing himself into his favorite novels. The door opened with but a nudge and that confused him as he'd locked it tightly when he'd left earlier in the day. He froze seeing a burn barrel in the middle of the room. A figure stood next to it. Hello, Hatake. Hinata. Kakashi felt his blood run cold. Tsunade's words came back to haunt him. Tell me, Kakashi, do you have any sins against Naruto? 10 words. 10 words that he feared were coming back to haunt him. How was your meeting with Lady Tsunade? Hinata's voice chilled him. Learn something, Hatake. Your little plan to separate us not working. Hinata's possessed voice taunting him. We are one, from now till the end. I could get even with you, but we feel that in the end, our pain would still pale in comparison to that of Naruto-kun's. Kakashi swallowed. Tell me, Hatake, you smell of fear and regret. I saw your memories when you stopped me from harming the Uchiha, and I promised Lady Tsunade, I would hold back on his judgment, for now. But you, Hatake, you I never gave such promise for. Kakashi started to sweat under his mask as he slipped into a defensive stance. He didn't know what his chances against the possessed Hyuga would be. Ha 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 ha. Hinata laughed at him. There are other ways to gain vengeance, like instead of physical harm. Kakashi looked at the burned barrel and noticed his books piled inside. It was then he smelled gas. No, he whispered. Hinata dropped a explosive tag and shushined away when it hit and the barrel full of porn books went up in flames. No. Kakashi's scream of terror could be heard all over Konoha. That is just the beginning, Hataki. That was for reading that trash when you should have been teaching Naruto-kun. Tomorrow we see what else your memories show me, Hataki. And with that the cold voice behind him vanished as Hinata shinshued away. Across town, Tsunade smiled as she put the viewing globe back on its pedestal and covered it with the cloth. She knew Hinata was slowly picking through the memories. It would take her days, even weeks to go through all of Hataki's memories. She'd read the book saying that as the spirit and the host blended together that the reading ability would become faster. Tsunade picked up a scroll with the swirl pattern that adorned many of Naruto's clothes. The Uzumaki Swirl. The scroll was Kushina Uzumaki's journal of her time from when she left her home village in Whirlpool and merged with the spirit of vengeance. Her joining Konoha during the war had earned her the name the Red Death. Yet only the Hokage and Yondaime knew at the time. Naruto, come back safe. There is so much I need to tell you and to show you. Tsunade thought. She turned and saw Hinata appear out of the shadows. The girl's eyes were white once more and color in her skin had returned. You're getting better at that. The fifth Hokage said. Hi, Hinata said. There was a hint of exhaustion in her voice. Did you get any sleep, Hinata? Tsunade asked, approaching her and feeling her skin and checking her pulse. A bit, Lady Tsunade. I see a lot of the spirit's past memories. Lady Uzumaki's during the war are. Tsunade nodded. And your retention of the past skills? Hinata sighed. It is slow going. The spirit and I are spending more time looking over Hataki's memories. I feel there is something there concerning Naruto before he became his Jonin instructor. The white-eyed girl said. There was a knock on the door and both turned as Shizune entered. Sorry to interrupt Lady Tsunade, but Hiyashi Hyuga is here and he's demanding to see his daughter. Tsunade scowled. Tell Hiyashi that Hinata is in the middle of special lessons, and he will see her when she is done. Shizune sighed and closed the door behind her. Now, while you're here, Hinata, let's continue your lessons as a healer. Tsunade said with a smile to the girl who cared for her adopted little brother. By Kami, I will do everything I can to make sure they get together. Hinata will be good for Naruto, and he for her. Tsunade thought as she pulled out a scroll. Anyo, why are you teaching me this? I'm a killer. Hinata said, looking down at the floor. No, you're not. Tsunade snapped at the girl. You are a sweet, kind young woman. As the spirit said, you are a pure soul. I don't feel pure after what I've done. The council members I, killed. What I did to S. Sakura. You are going after those who have harmed Naruto. Tsunade sighed and sat on the edge of her desk. I won't lie to you, Hinata. It's a long list of those who deserve whatever you do to them. You and the spirit will be busy for some time. But I am looking to give you a life away from that. And when we have Naruto back, I want you to be more secure in yourself. To that end, I'm making you my apprentice. That means you will not be under the Hyuga Council's control, nor your father's. As my apprentice, I am the only one you need to answer to. Hinata looked at her in surprise. I'm not doing it only to protect you, Hinata. I'm being selfish. I see you, and I know you can be the best, better than me. The fact you care about Naruto is a plus. But he doesn't know. He just thinks I'm a weird girl. Hinata stuttered out. He cares about S. Sakura, and I attacked her. Tsunade sighed. You know what Sakura said and did to him after he brought the Uchiha back. I don't think he cares for her. I believe she destroyed whatever image he held of her. Now then, the door opened and Shizune could be heard yelling. You can't go in there. Hiyashi Hyuga stood in the doorway, his eyes filled with anger. Hinata, he said, his voice the same cold tone he'd always used in regards to his eldest daughter. Come here, now. Kwai's mountaintop. Now kid, let's talk. The Kyuubi said as he and Naruto sat in the boy's mind. Fine. I have a ton of questions and you have much to tell me. Let's do this. Naruto said. You want to know why I attacked Konoha all those years ago? The Kyuubi said, and the fox in the cage sat on its haunches. I awoke in this world surrounded by a powerful sorcerer. He wanted to use my power for his own. I fought back and he cast some kind of spell that the end result left me little more than a berserker. I moved around and ended up in the borders of Konoha. I was attacked by ninja wearing the same symbol you wore on your headband. They were with the sorcerer as I recognized some of them, so I attacked. At the time I had very little control over my actions as it seemed that I was on pure instinct. They led me on a chase, stopping to attack when it looked like I would break the spell on me, angering me once more, and my anger fueled the spell I was under. Naruto listened as the Kyuubi said that the nin led him to the walls of Konoha where he was attacked by more nin. By then I was deep in rage and attacking all that crossed my path. They all wore the leaf symbol. I see now it was a ploy for me to destroy Konoha, but at the time I was out of control and it took the Hokage to separate my spirit from my body. So, some mystic attacked you and you in turn attacked Konoha, because they were wearing our symbol. Naruto summarized. He scratched his head. Well, Konoha had many enemies, so it's possible they stole the headbands and made it look like it was us. I regret what I did all those years ago, kid, but I now am angry because of what the villagers did to you. They treated you wrong, they attacked a child, and even amongst demons that is looked down upon. Children are precious, even to us. Kyuubi said. Why do you keep calling me Kit? Naruto asked after several minutes of silence as Kyuubi allowed him to absorb his reason for attacking Konoha. Ha, ha, ha. I call you Kit, for that's what you are. You are a kid, a child. And, at this Naruto saw that the Kyuubi seemed nervous. What? He asked. I see you as my kit. I had no mate nor kits of my own, and as I watched your life since awakening, I see the pain I've caused you with just being in you, and I want to make it right. I want to teach you all I know. I want to pawn all I have and was to you. I want to make you my heir. Naruto was in shock. You don't need to say anything, Kit. Just so you know, Kyuubi said. They sat in silence for some time, before Naruto spoke up. How were you able to talk with me while I was fighting Kwai-Ojiazan? Since I've been awake I've been working on opening paths of communication. This way you didn't have to always come down here to see me. Kyuubi told him. Yeah, but couldn't you take over? Naruto asked. No, Kit. I can enhance your senses, I can speak with you, but I can't control you. The seal prevents it, and I wouldn't do that, even if I could. But the first time we met, you said. Sigh, I know what I said, Kit. I was just woken, and still shaking off the last of the spell the sorcerer cast on me. I was lashing out, and I apologize. I'm not the best of moods when woken roughly, and your appearance like that just hit me wrong. I'm so sorry for that. Kyuubi said. Now you'll work with the Shaolin first to get yourself into shape. After that I will start to teach you. Teach me what? To be a demon? Naruto asked. Kyuubi laughed for a bit. Oh no, Kit. You might end up being a Hanyu in the end, a human-demon hybrid, but that won't be for a long time. No, Kit. I the Kyuubi no Kitsune will teach you to be the first Zot Nin in nearly 1,000 years. A what? Naruto asked. A Zot Nin. Zot Nin were guardians of peace for thousands of years. They had the ability to use the Vunla. Kyuubi explained. Vu what? Naruto was confused. Just worry about getting in proper shape. Kwai won't teach you any ninjutsus or genjutsus, but he will spend time with taijutsu and kenjutsu. Also ask him to work on etiquette, social and political. What? Why? And what is that Vu stuff? Naruto asked. A deep sigh. Vunla is a type of energy. Life energy. It surrounds us, binds us. It's part of everything. You, me, this cage, the seal. It's part of the mountain, the air. Don't worry about it for now, Kit. Just get in shape first and then I'll begin your lessons. What about Mikahamaru? Naruto asked. I'll include him. He's strong as you in the Vunla. Tell Kwai to work on a way for us to communicate. Tell him to look in the book of Ramhu. Naruto nodded. He wanted to know more about Vunla and Zot Nin, but he knew from the short time he'd spoken with Kyuubi that he wouldn't tell him till he was ready, and that meant getting himself in shape and his taijutsu fixed. Why kenjutsu? He asked. It will be part of your training for being a Zotnin. Now, go and start with the old monk. I'm going to rest and prepare for your lessons in the way of the Zot. Naruto nodded and felt his mind shift, and he opened his eyes in the real world and saw a pair of golden eyes right before his own blue eyes. Mikahamaru, who was using chakra to hang from a branch above Naruto, fell on his head laughing at the expression of his friend's face. Naruto chid his chest and watched his childhood friend rolling on the ground laughing. So glad you find scaring me half to death so funny. Naruto grumbled. So sorry bro. Mika said, calming himself and sitting up. So, you and Kyuubi have a nice long chat? Mika asked. I think so. He told me why he attacked Konoha all those years ago, and told me to work with Master Kwai with my taijutsu and kenjutsu. Mika nodded. Old man figured that. He's changing and says we'll be using the mornings to do exercises and afternoons to spar in Tai and Ken. Mika pointed to the wooden bakken laying between them. Kyuubi also said once I'm in shape, he's taking over my training along with yours. Mine. Why? Mika asked. He says he's going to teach us in the ways of Zot. A crash had both turn and see Master Kwai standing over a drop tray. His wide eyes looking at Naruto in shock. Master, you okay? Mika asked, hurrying to the old monk's side. I am fine, Mika-san. Master Kwai looked at Naruto. The Kyuubi said he'd teach you the way of the Zotnin. Yeah, Mika and me, Naruto said. Kwai looked shocked, a look Naruto had seen on Sarutobi Ojiazin's face once or twice when he'd surprised him. A legend of old, Kwai muttered and looked at both young men. Well, if I am to prepare you both, then we will begin now. Oh, and Kyuubi said something about you finding a way for him to communicate with us both. He said look in the book of Ramus or something like that. Naruto said. Ramhu. Kwai corrected. He stroked his beard and nodded. Now then, we'll start with laps, then calisthenics, sit-ups, push-ups. Then tree climbing and water walking. But Kwai Ojiazin, that's, Naruto started. After that we'll start with the basics of swordsmanship. Tomorrow I'll add weight seals to you both. Every other day after that you will run an obstacle course with double weight before lunch. The old man continued as he motioned for the boys to follow him. Naruto looked and saw that the dropped tea was gone and the old man was moving with a purpose. Why do I have a feeling this is going to hurt? In the back of his mind he could hear the Kyuubi laughing like mad. Kwai's mountaintop. 3 months later. Naruto jumped from branch to branch. The simulation chamber was awesome in his mind. It was a room that with several powerful spells could be made to look like anywhere and actually be interactive. Solid illusions and golems that with special hinges on them could look like people. The months of long daily training were paying off. Naruto felt physically stronger than ever before. His baby fat had melted off with the workouts, and he found out about muscles he never knew about as they seized up on him. Master Kwai was a taskmaster while training them, but after the day ended and they were gathered around for dinner and tea, the old man reminded him of Sarutobi Ojiazin in so many ways. Naruto found out that Kwai was a pervert that read those damned orange books he'd seen Kakashi reading all the time. Trying to get them away from the old monk became an obsession for Naruto, who shanghaied Mikahamaru into helping him as well. The result was both boys turning it into training, that while they never managed to get the book, their attempts kept the old monk from reading them except in the safety of his room after that. Naruto learned several taijutsu styles under Master Kwai, who would actually explain moves to him and how to build new styles his own off those he was learning. Naruto loved the kung fu style as a great starting point, and while Master Kwai would use his speed to keep from getting hit, he only would flick or tap Naruto when he did hit him. Mika. Naruto was happy to see while better than him, still couldn't hit the Shaolin monk either. Naruto had taken to reading in Master Kwai's library at night. He'd studied several ninjutsu scrolls and copied them with Kwai's blessing. The old man told him he could copy them all if he wished, but Kwai reminded him that Kyuubi didn't want him learning them right now. I know that, Naruto responded, but for later. At night Mika would sit out in Master Kwai's garden playing a beautiful flute. Naruto asked him what the flute was made of. Dragon bone, Mika told him as he looked at the flute in his hands. Mika had told him of the wind dragon in his family tree. How Mika had gained abilities from being descended from the dragon. I heal quick, I have more stamina. My children, if I have any, will have my Kekkei Genkei of the wind. Naruto took it in and understood that should he have children, they would get one from the Kyuubi. He'd learned from Master Kwai's library that all Kekkei Genkei originated from low-level demons. The Byakugan came from the eagles. The Sharingan he learned had come from a low-level demon, a winged monkey. Monkey see, monkey do kit. The Kyuubi had said in the back of his mind. He'd learned that summons were low-level demons as they were called. Naruto shook his head, leaping to another branch seconds before someone landed where he'd been seconds before, forcing him from his thoughts. He turned and saw Master Kwai standing on the branch where he'd been holding his Bakken, and Naruto knew he'd just managed to avoid getting hit if the crackling of lightning was any indication. The Bakken sported lightning runes on them that would give a light shock upon contact. Light shock my ass, Naruto thought. Master Kwai's Bakken can knock out Gamabunta with a tap. He thought as he studied the old man. Hey Kwai Ojiazan. He greeted his teacher. Naruto-san. The Shaolin monk said. He was dressed as if for battle, and in ways taking on Mika and Naruto was a battle. You and Mika-san got separated by the log trap at the river. He said. Hi. But we talked about meeting up further ahead, taking two different paths. And weakening your chances. Kwai said, bringing the Bakken up above his head with the tip pointing straight up. Naruto swallowed. The old man was damn good at this. He knew in the past 3 months he'd gotten better, but not enough to win a drawn-out battle with the old man. The only time they even pushed him back was when they double-teamed him. Hi, but then again, are you overconfident, Ojiazan? Naruto asked and leapt. His Bakken connected with the old man's and he landed on the branch, forcing chakra into his feet to stick to the branch. The past 3 months of control exercises had helped him greatly. He no longer struggled with it. Mika worked with him constantly that first month. Water walking and tree climbing, then fighting while using his feet to stick to the tree trunk. The falls had landed him in the water below, but it was a good and safe way to learn. The weight seals helped him build up strength and speed. Naruto backflipped away from a Bakken swipe and landed so he was off the trunk now, and he leapt again, his Bakken striking Kwai's 3 times. Better Naruto-san, Kwai said, and after blocking he used an uppercut swipe. Naruto managed to lean back, but Kwai reminded him that he had feet as he swept Naruto's out from under him. Naruto hit the branch and rolled off, falling several feet to the next one below. He landed in a crouch and looked up and managed to bring his Bakken up to block as Kwai had followed him down with a downward slash. Naruto could hear the lightning jutsus crackle as they impacted, and light sparks arced along the wooden surfaces. Good, good, Kwai said with a chuckle as he tried to hit Naruto with a nerve strike with his free hand, but Naruto blocked it and shoved the old man back. Kwai smiled. Yes. Now attack me, he ordered, and Naruto needed no prompting as he sent a flurry of strikes and lunges that actually had Kwai take a step back. Yeah. Both looked up to see Mika descending like a hawk, his Bakken before him, and he swooped down, missing Kwai by a hair's breadth. Hey, Ruto, Mika said as he took his own stance on the side of the branch. The sword aimed at Kwai in an overhead pose and his left hand before him. About time you showed up, Naruto said, taking his own stance with the Bakken pointed at the ground and near his left hip. Naruto adjusted his footing. What kept you? Kwai-senpai had left a few traps I had to work around. Mika said. Both boys looked at one another out of the corners of their eyes, and Kwai took his stance with his Bakken over his head pointing towards the sky. Without words the three were in motion, the sound of the wooden Bakkens laced with lightning clashed together. Naruto led off while Mika feinted, then followed Naruto's attack a second later. The pair had discussed tactics and had practiced on Tuesdays when Master Kwai would leave for his weekly shogi in the village, using Naruto's cage bunchins to work on their teamwork. Mika blocked an attack from Kwai and Naruto leapt over him to try a downward strike, but Kwai moved and Naruto missed. Your teamwork is exceptional, Kwai said as he blocked one then another attack, and he kicked Mika back before flipping to a higher branch. I am proud of you both. In 3 months of work you two have become a great team. Says the man we can't even hit. Naruto grumbled, using the space that Kwai made to catch his breath. Kwai's had a millennia to master his skills kit. I would be surprised if the Sannin could hit him. Kyuubi said in his mind. We'll get him yet, Naruto. Mika panted next to him. The silver-haired teen had worked side by side with Naruto since that first day. They reaffirmed their friendship and bonds, and Naruto realized how much he had missed the golden-eyed youth. He realized what he had with Team 7 had been nothing but a pale shadow. Scissor on 3. Micah said. Naruto nodded and prepared to move when Kwai held up a hand. We have visitors on the mountain, he said, his eyes unfocused. Both of you go and wash up, you stink. Then come to the courtyard. Kwai said and vanished. I really need to learn how to do that. Naruto grumbled. Teleporting around has walking beat. Micah grunted and then smirked. Hold on. He smirked and Naruto felt the air surround them and they were lifted into the air. Flying is cool too, Naruto said, and they yelled as they zipped away at a very fast pace, the air around them speeding them along. They found Master Kwai speaking with an old man they recognized from their weekly trips to the village. They came out of nowhere. They took the women and children and took the crops. Kwai looked over his shoulder at the two young men. We've got to help them, Naruto said. Hi, Kwai said. Pack for a mission. Use the storage scrolls and be ready in 5 minutes, he told them. Both Naruto and Micah wasted no time as they moved towards their rooms with speed that would have made Guy and his apprentice Rock Lee envious. Kwai looked at the old man. We will bring the women and children back, old friend, he assured him. Thank you, Kwai. I wouldn't ask, but most of the men are badly injured. The bandits came in quickly and without warning. Micah and Naruto were back, both outfitted for a mission. Master Kwai, Naruto asked. The bandits are heading down river. I will be going to the village to heal those that need it. Your mission is to rescue the women and children, and if possible bring the crops back as well. Both boys nodded. Use these, Kwai said and motioned. A pair of slender swords appeared in his hands. Micah took one and slung it over his shoulder. Naruto took the other slowly and then at the old man. You both are ready for this. I believe in you both. Naruto slipped the strap over his head and shoulder. Pick up their trail outside the village and follow them, and boys. Both Micah and Naruto paused at the temple entrance. No need for prisoners or survivors, Kwai said. Naruto swallowed. He hated the thought of killing, but Micah had pointed out to him that it was a part of a ninja's life. You don't have to like it, Naruto, but you can't allow everyone you cross to live. A live enemy is a danger to you, and all you hold precious. Naruto nodded to Master Kwai in understanding and raced after Micah. Once they were near the edge of the mountaintop, Micah smirked and leapt off, the air surrounding him and carrying him along. Naruto joined him and swallowed. Just don't drop me, he told his best friend. Never, Micah said, his gold eyes focusing on the ground below, and they reached the bottom of the mountain in no time and reached the decimated village in no time. They had no trouble finding the trail of the bandits and they set off in a two-man pursuit position, with Micah on point and Naruto to his right and a pace behind. Micah kept a hand on the sword on his back, his left hand free, and Naruto knew that there would be bloodshed. Kit. They harmed innocent women and children. They left a village in wreck, Kyuubi said in the back of his mind. This needs to be done. I know Q, but I still don't like the idea of killing. Wounding them is fine, and if they manage to find a skilled healer they'll be back in action doing it again. Their kind never learns, Kit, Kyuubi said. In the 3 months since he began learning from Kwai, Kyuubi, or Q as Naruto now called him, had become like an uncle to him. At night Q would teach him fighting styles and chakra manipulations, while not telling him more about Zonin, but just talking. They played Go in Naruto's head and Naruto found that the fox had a sense of humor. They designed several pranks that could be used in battle as a distraction. Q had also taught Naruto how to hide. A chameleon seal now allowed Naruto to blend in with his surroundings as if becoming invisible. Q also taught him how to conjure Kit fire. While it wouldn't burn, it could be used as a distraction, or to outline a target. The purple and orange flames, while couldn't burn, did have heat to them. Naruto spent many nights in his mind learning how to summon and conjure the Kit fire without hand signs and could now summon it on will like a regular kitsune. We're doing this to protect women and children, Kit. The villagers at the mountain accepted you, even when Kwai told them what you contained. They are worthy of your protection. Of our protection. Hi, Naruto muttered out loud while racing along. He saw Micah make a hand sign, The pair had started using their old sign language from when they were younger and it worked great at being a ninja. Naruto slowed and they saw that the bandits were stopped ahead. Let's get him, Kyuubi's voice sounded in his mind. Micah looked on, his gold eyes scanning the clearing. They have minimal guards, and no patrols. Micah hand signals spoke. Q says we get him and, Naruto's hands paused. If you wish, I will take care of them. You can wound, I'll end them. Micah hand signs told Naruto and his eyes led Naruto he understood about his thoughts of killing. Number. I need to do this. Naruto signed back. Okay. Attack pattern Delta. Go low, I'll take high. Micah signed back drawing the sword Kwai had given him. Think Blade's sword. Naruto pulled his own blade, Think Arwen's sword from LOTR, and nodded at the slightly curved blade and saw there were runes on it, but didn't understand them. Let's go. Micah whispered and gathering the wind around him he was airborne. Naruto tapped the chameleon seal he'd tattooed on the back of his wrist and vanished. A slight shimmer of the air was the only indication he'd moved. Think the predator's cloaking ability if you need an image. The bandit camp wouldn't know what hit them. Hinata Hyuga walked down the streets of Konoha. In the last 3 months the citizens had come to fear her. The ones that feared her were the ones who abused and attacked Naruto Uzumaki, and she made sure they knew why. She didn't kill them. Crippled, maimed and terrorized on the other hand she'd been very good at. She and the spirit had sworn no executions without the consent of the Hokage. Hinata's eyes were white at this time and she carried a basket filled with herbs and some food she'd picked up shopping that morning. In the last 3 months she'd lived with Lady Tsunade and Shizune and her confidence had grown, and she'd learned a lot from the Hokage and Shizune in the ways of the medical field. She'd also managed to avoid her father since he burst into the Hokage's office. Flashback. The door opened and Shizune could be heard yelling. You can't go in there. Hiashi Hyuga stood in the doorway, his eyes filled with anger. Hinata, he said, his voice the same cold tone he'd always used in regards to his eldest daughter. Come here, now. Hinata looked at her father and before she could move he was sent flying out of the room courtesy of a Tsunade chakra-powered punch. That is no way to speak to my apprentice Hiashi. And you were interrupting a very important lesson. Tsunade said and slammed the door behind him. End flashback. Hiashi had over the last 3 months sent branch members to fetch her back and each time they were beaten down by Shizune or Tsunade. Hinata stopped and checked a fruit stand. She smiled to the old woman. She remembered her as being nice enough to see fresh fruit to Naruto over the years and charge him the fair price. Hinata and the Konoha 9 had given her all their business. The business that Hinata approved of got the Konoha 9's Team 10, Team 9 and Team 8 business, along with their senseis. The Konoha 9. Hinata smiled remembering her encounter with her former classmates and Guy's team. The only ones not there were Sakura, Sasuke and Kakashi. They asked about what she was doing. She told them in an even voice that she was enacting vengeance for Naruto upon those who did him wrong. Truly did him wrong. She told them of what she'd done to Sakura. She explained her vengeance upon the Uchiha was waiting till he woke. It was Kurenai who asked what she had done to Kakashi. Hinata smiled to herself, remember the last 3 months of vengeance on the copycat ninja. Flashback. After the book burning incident, Kakashi had become very paranoid around Hinata. He was jumpy every time she would come around a corner or he entered the Hokage's office and she was there. She always had a job for the newly demoted genin. Kakashi's jobs ranged from sweeping up the streets of Konoha after business hours, cleaning the local bathhouses, mucking stalls at a nearby farm. Hinata had him chase Tora while wearing chakra blockers, forcing him to physically chase the Fire Lord's wife's cat. Hinata smiled thinking of seeing the former Jonin twitch every time she spoke to him. Hinata paid for the fruit and turned to find her way blocked by her father and a pair of branch family members. Hello, Hiashi, she said, not one stutter, just a pause before she addressed him. You are coming with me. He said. No, Hinata said as she calmly put her basket aside. She looked at the vendor. Will you please send a message to Lady Tsunade, and inform her that Hiashi Hyuga is trying to kidnap her apprentice? Hinata turned back to her father. I've learned a lot while being the apprentice to the Hokage. Tell me Hiashi, you do know what being an apprentice means, don't you? She could see the muscles in his jaw twitch as she back-talked him. You will show me the respect I am due. He snarled at her. Then I am showing you too much as is Hiashi. For you were never a father to me, and as the Hokage's apprentice I outranked you in position of importance in Konoha. Hiashi's jaw muscles jumped more and his eyes narrowed at her. Quit posturing, you are coming home this instant. You have responsibilities to the clan. I have responsibilities to Konoha and as Lady Tsunade's apprentice. Hinata countered. You will return to the compound and stand as the caged bird seal is placed upon you. You will then assume duties appropriate for someone as weak as you, scullery maid. The two branch members shared a look behind Hiashi's back. Hanabi has been named my heir. Good for Hanabi, I'm sure she will continue to please you with her cold ways and selfish behavior that mirrors your own. And to think my mother loved you at one time. It is fortunate that she died in birth, for she would be ashamed how you and Hanabi turned out. Hinata said. Her skin paled slightly, but her eyes remained locked on Hiashi. The head of the Hyuga clan sputtered in outrage at how his eldest daughter was talking to him. She wasn't the spineless girl he abused for years. She was different and he blamed the Hokage for it. You will stand down and be sealed. Hiashi said with a sneer. No Hiashi Hyuga, Hinata said. I won't. Hinata slid into a relaxed Jukin stance, but Hiashi raised an eyebrow. It wasn't the one taught amongst the main or branch family. He wasn't familiar with the hand placements and scoffed. You can't even present a proper Jukin stance. You truly are weak. Hinata's skin took on a whiteness and her eyes flashed with the Byakugan. The veins appeared around her eyes, but what had Hiashi step back was her eyes. They were black, pure black. So this is what the Hyuga have become since the days of Kenji and Halana. The cold voice from Hinata had Hiashi look at the branch members. Come great clan leader. Show me what you can do against a pure Hyuga, trained in the style that fits her and not the bastardized gentle fist you assume is the end-all of your clan. Well, it will be the end, as I have seen this shell's memories and I find your lack of faith disturbing. Who are you? What have you done to my daughter? Hiashi asked. The cold laugh that seemed to ricochet off the surrounding buildings, chilled Hiashi to the core. Across Konoha, a former Jonin turned genin shuddered as he weeded a garden. I am Hinata, and Hinata is me. And I am vengeance. Elsewhere. Ha, 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 ha. The portly bandit laughed as he watched his men fight over one of the girls they'd captured in that small village. That's the ticket, boys. And if you can't share her, I'll take her for the night. More chortling as he looked over the campfire. Hurry up with my dinner, boy, or I'll slit your throat. He told one of the prisoners that was wearing ankle chains and had been put to work preparing the bandit leader's dinner. The gust of wind went ignored. Shame that, around the camp the few sentries found themselves suffering from an intense case of death. The wind blades sliced through their necks and the air wrapped around them, keeping them in place. A shimmering figure stepped along the camp, pausing and being lost if anyone had noticed it. Sadly, the bandits were too busy drinking and intimidating prisoners to realize that several of their number were dead and more were joining them. The caged wagon was guarded by two bandits and they found themselves dead. One by the air smothering him, the other one with a kunai in his neck. The bodies were lowered to the ground and the air shimmered as Naruto appeared before the wagon holding up a finger to his lips telling the women and children to keep quiet as he picked up the keys and after unlocking the door, started working on the chains around their ankles and wrists. Keep quiet. Head that way. He pointed. All the guards that way are dead. He told one of the older women. But Genta and Ichi are with the bandits. One said. We'll get them. Naruto said. Just get going. He told them, giving one of the women the crossbow a bandit had. Go. We'll catch up. I promise. One of the women nodded and they herded the children the way Naruto suggested. The blonde looked up and saw Micah balanced on the top of the wagon's cage. So far, so good. Two left to rescue. You want me to? Micah signed. Naruto shook his head. I'll get them out. You worry about the bandits. Micah smiled as they crept along the tents. Bandits found themselves dying from being stabbed or from the air slicing their throats or suffocating them. Once they looked at the center of the camp, Naruto nodded and made the hand signs. Cage Bunshin. He roared and 100 Naruto clones filled the area and went right after the bandits. Micah smirked as he used the air to lift himself into the air and saw the bandit leader grab the girl and boy he'd had serving him as shields. Bastard. The silver-haired youth thought as he sent several blades of wind into bandits and watched as they were sliced in half. Micah checked on Naruto and saw the blonde was lost in the sea of shadow clones. I really need to ask him how he does that. The bandit leader yelled at his men to protect him and kill the damned blonde. With a sword strike he watched one go up in a puff of smoke. What the hell? He yelled. Clone's asshole. He turned and saw another blonde coming at him, and he used a sword to swipe at him. The bandit staggered back and pulled the girl in front of him as a shield. Come any closer and the girl gets it. He warned the blonde. Naruto narrowed his blue eyes. Behind him he could hear the clones dealing with the bandits and knew Mikahamaru was using his wind control to decimate the rest of the bandits that his clones had trouble with. How about you let the girl go, and I promise you'll get buried in one piece. Naruto said. The Kyuubi in his head warning him to be careful. How about I don't and you give up or I slit her pretty little neck. Naruto shook his head. He felt his clones disperse and knew that they had been successful. You're the last, Naruto said, and you're outnumbered. What? Your clones? They're all gone, kid. Look up, Tem. A voice said, and the bandit turned and saw Micah standing on the air above him with his sword aimed at him. The girl stomped hard on the bandit leader's foot and ran as fast as the chains around her ankles would let her. The bandit leader howled as the girl and boy huddled off to the side. Naruto stepped between the leader and the former captive and held his sword up in a two-handed grip. Micah lowered himself and had his sword aimed at the dirt at an angle before him. 2-on-1, the bandit leader said. Didn't stop you from attacking a peaceful village. Naruto said. Or stealing their hard work. Micah continued. The bandit leader pulled a short sword out and glared at the two youths. My name is Toru Kalani. You punks won't beat me. Micah snorted. Want to bet? Naruto shuffled his foot and focused his eyes on the Toru's grip and foot placement. Kit. He's a master. I've heard of him. Be careful. Kyuubi warned. I will cue, just fix whatever he does. Naruto thought. I can heal nearly anything, Kit, but don't lose a limb, or your head. The Kyuubi warned. Micah shifted his foot and he brought his blade up to block the first blow from Toru, who seemed to move rather quickly despite his size. Naruto lunged and found the short sword blocking his attack. Toru chuckled as he attacked both boys. His swords flashing quickly, but he was surprised that the boys managed to block. One would block and the other would attack and they would alternate. He circled with them, his long sword arcing down, while his short sword blocked an attack from the silver-haired youth. Toru Kalani was a skilled swordsman from Mist. He'd taught some of the 7 swordsmen before he left Mist in dishonor. He'd grown lazy and fat with his bandit army raiding villages over the years. He smirked and figured he could talk his way out of this. I'll admit, you killed my men. But how about you both join me? The 3 of us could build a whole new army. You'd be my lieutenants, we could rule the coast. Naruto growled and lunged. Toru managed to block the sword swipe and tried to attack the blonde, but his other sword was blocking the silver-haired youth and he got kicked hard in the chest, sending him several feet back. Both boys were attacking him before he finished rolling. He barely got his blades up to block the furious assault. You attacked men, women and children. You were going to turn them into slaves. Micah growled, his golden orbs flashing. You are a disease upon humanity. Naruto growled. The blades were a silver blur as they attacked from various angles. Toru was sweating. He'd allowed his skills to decline over the years and was now cursing himself. In his prime he could have taken them, but these two were working like a well-oiled team and they forced him back with each attack. Toru ducked and spun despite his size and he sent a flurry of swipes and strikes with a master's ease. He managed to get himself some breathing room. He saw a pair of his men coming up behind the 2 boys and grinned. I'm sorry, if you will not join me, then you will be destroyed. Toru said as the 2 bandits attacked. Micah spun and blocked one and Naruto ducked and rolled. Toru laughed as it was 3-on-2 now and they were trying to force the 2 boys back. One of the bandits was using a pair of kamas while the other used a pair of wicked-looking long daggers. The blades were shaped like waves. The 3 bandits worked hard, but Naruto and Micah were used to actually fighting as a team while the bandits were used to attacking in large groups. Naruto blocked the kamas and Micah used his wind to push the bandit back. Both boys ducked back as the dagger wielder lunged in, his arms pinwheeling trying to hit them. Toru was using the time to occasionally attack, but would duck back and let the two thugs of his crew attack. Mikahamaru groaned. He was focusing on his sword work and couldn't get the wind to respond right. Master Kwai says I need to focus, but can't right now. That's my big weakness. I should have kept back and in the air. Naruto was cursing the Kama user and he blocked one, only to have the other slice across his stomach, shredding his shirt and grazing the skin. Watch it, Kit. This one is skilled. We can't back off or the kids behind you will get taken again. I know, damn it. We need some space, Naruto thought. Toru chuckled as he circled the fight now. Miz and Mori were worth their cut and he'd make them his top lieutenants when they rebuilt the group. He looked at the corpses of the bandits the pair had killed before attacking him. They do have some skill. Shame they have to die here. He watched as the blonde did a backflip and kicked Mori back. He made a hand sign and there were 6 of him now. Clones. He's a virtual one-man army. Toru thought as he turned his gaze to watch the silver-haired youth. He's got some weird power over air. Miz better watch out or he's going to wind up dead. Toru made a decision and slipped away. Cut my losses for now. Rebuild my group and work on the coastal towns again. I knew coming near the elemental villages would be bad news. As the slightly pudgy bandit leader slipped away, he knew he'd spared himself and he vowed not to come this way again. Micah ducked and Naruto or one of his clones rolled across his back and hit the dagger wielder with a roundhouse kick. Micah slipped around and saw himself flanked by 3 clones of Naruto who were attacking the dagger wielder with kunai. Micah looked over and saw Naruto and 3 of his clones wearing down the Kama wielder. Micah nodded and stabbed the sword into the dirt before focusing his will upon the air. He cupped his hands near his right hip, his left hand over the right. A swirling vortex of chakra-enhanced air could be seen forming. Think DBZ's Ka-Maha-Maha. He felt the air build up and he narrowed his eyes thinking what the bandits did to the village that his sensei visited. The women and children they were going to sell to slavery or worse. The ball of chakra-enhanced air swirled faster and increased in size. Naruto meanwhile had created another pair of cage bunchins and was making a Rasengan. His sword was sheathed over his shoulder. Both boys unleashed their attacks at the same time. The resulting explosion, well, let's just say that there wasn't anything left of Miz or Mori bigger than an exploding tag. Naruto looked at the remains, turned around and threw up on a clone that made a revolted look before dispersing and returning the memory to Naruto, who threw up again. Micah was on one knee gasping for air. He'd put too much into that attack and he knew it. His gold eyes scanned around for the missing bandit leader, but he couldn't find him. Damn, he got away, he thought. His eyes rested on the boy and girl they rescued and nodded. The pair raced up to them, the boy stopping near a heaving Naruto while the girl stopped several paces away from Micah. Can we go home? She asked. Micah nodded his head wearily. Let's get those irons off, he said, pulling a lockpick from his belt. He remembered the old days when he and Naruto would borrow from shops in Konoha. They had intent to return what they borrowed, eventually. He was sure it was on their list to do someday. Maybe when Naruto makes Hokage. Yeah, that sounds good, Micah thought as he slowly picked the lock first on the wrist chains and then the ones on the ankles. Naruto was recovering and listened as the young boy who couldn't be older than 6 or 7 described the battle with enthusiasm that Naruto remembered once having when he first announced he was going to be Hokage. Why do I feel so old all of a sudden? Killing does it, Kit? It ages one, not physically, but mentally and spiritually. You killed him and you were looking right in his eyes when you rammed that Rasengan into his chest. You powered it, and Kit, I wish I could claim it was me, but it was all you there, Kyuubi said, and Naruto could hear the regret in the fox demon's voice. I know, Q. I know, Naruto said, and he looked at the boy who was still talking. The kid's hairstyle reminded him of a Hyuga, but the kid was a farmer and he was tanned and his gray eyes were eager. Let's get you home, Naruto said, standing up and picking the kid up and walking him over to Micah to get the chains removed. You okay, Kit? Kyuubi asked. No, but I will be, Naruto said as he looked at his silver-haired friend. The pair shared a look and they both understood without words.